This is Dr. Justyna Agnieszka Chevalier. This is a continuation of the part 2 of these instructive exercises and remediation for harmonious society of described in a prior video problems that result of in lack of effectiveness and remediation with anger or suppression of other person's achievements or relationships, or a pursuit of having another person in belief that self is what one does, a mold, preferred mold as opposed to the other person's likes and dislikes, in ignorance to such. And this is important. Realize that each and every person, same as you, I, everybody in this universe, has two dimensions. Social, one, that includes all of social functions, including family as well, and function of a being that pursues and wishes for ideal life partnership, because we humans have that upon reaching puberty or even before, as that some sort of a fairy tale, a source of happiness to form couples. And that is derived from sexuality and love. And these functions cannot impede that knowledge, proper sublimation. And that proper sublimation needs to be expressed, and being expression of de facto resolution in no longer need for you in persons that you assist. On every single person is a candidate for that, but especially when that is your work and mental state, that you are supposed to be at all times superior and provide because others are less. It is false. You need to realize that. Every single creature, take I don't know, a hyena from a forest or a bird on the street, has adult dimension, and has adult dimension to form pursuing family, adult relationships, and to provide for self, as well as function in society in assistance with others to achieve safety in the area and full emancipation and collaboration in all of tasks towards harmony as effortless as possible of all of the participants. And so remember, this is oriented towards emancipation, cure of persons that you assist, attitude of that person, natural one, in no anger but in respect to your individuality, that person is an independent equal in potential or actual role to form lasting sexual satisfactory relationship, preferred one, because there's always, this is just a statement of fact, there's always one that is preferred as a result of these mating dynamics, or as potential having such to achieve described maturity, or to learn about such, experience it in meditation, for instance, or in awareness, and spur self that maturation that then requires and brings regret, simply that is remediable because the other person loves in regret in having actually that person out of life, or not having that person present in the desired intensity in participation from the start. And that is always proportional to the hurt in that person. That is a different topic that I will address in part 3. In this part, the instructive of the exercise, each and every morning, evening, afternoon, whenever it is, or night when you wake up, analyze content of mind based on actual experiences in search of emotions, own emotions, because that is the evaluation tool what you have reliably available for persons who in own gratefulness add all emotions that make you feel superior, constitute source of your self-esteem, as opposed to sense of living in a present, and based on the demands of the surroundings, taking actions in appropriate timing and proportional responses to presenting selves opportunities. That includes writing and creation and things like that, but that also includes all of real life dynamic around. Person like in Susan Vega's song, walking dog, person having a sitting, person somewhere falling, another person somewhere, I don't know, doing something else. So analyze in your mind the relationships that are continuous and in which the establishing of that relationship became in any way sole source of your self-esteem and lacking such that self-esteem is missing, or you became trained in defensive way to end that relationship, not to pursue it, in fear of personal sexual involvement, impediment of such, or in fear of being harmed or in somehow demeaned, degraded, based on lack of such feedback, a good one, admiration. And remember, all of these admiration like relationships based on function lack in resolution often because children and spouses and other things, instead of searching in family life, starting from sexual act, leading to bonding in attachment, in love with the other person, leading them to having that child, loving that child because it is the closest one could have had in being with another human being, and then having that expressed and seen in others as love, also because of continuation of that romantic relationship and having that love and feelings of accomplishment towards that person, that the social then the primary nuclear family from childhood, friendships and work, all those relationships become providing the same as school evaluations, granting as if right to have you respected or loved in family. An example of that is you come back home, being, for instance, a doctor, and the spouse says, I received a phone call from Nurse Jenkins. That's an example. And she said that you know what you have done? You were staring at the breast of the patient or on her behind, and I am so fed up because apparently someone noticed that the level of sodium was out of whack, and I sit here in underwear all day. I do not work like you told me. I have everything prepared, dinners, all of that, and you are now divorcing me because I am so fed up. And Nurse Jenkins said it clearly that you are not only bad doctor, which it means I don't love you anymore, but also it is because you actually are an obscene person that is pursuing sex at work. And so see, in search of such feedback, good one, school evaluations or grades, then spouses grant themselves right to sex or love, and it is wrong in design and true to reality. That's what I mean. And that is because of reflective as opposed to that person's individual physical body, love and desire of that individual that you forming relationship being source of reciprocity in such emotions, and gratefulness because of such occurrence superior to others as opposed to being scolded and aspiring at some point maybe. And that is the same with children. That child is loved because the child loves a person being spouse and being parent, and also in maturation, when that child is independent, not depending on that relationship more and more so. However, your emotions, you will notice, depend a lot in easiness, in facility of having sex, on sexual activity that is successful and based on in degree of satisfaction on reciprocity. So what to do? In mind, analyze for effectiveness when it is that you wish for or you noted that the other person, all of those persons that normally occupy mind in assistance, stopped being chronic. So you achieved cure, you achieved perception of being healthy in the other persons, you achieved perception in those other persons appropriate to age and specific role gender, that that person is an equal in physical body as life to provide basic needs. You enabled that, and that person no longer has any sort of gratefulness, unnecessary one, or any, and you don't depend on such, and provides everything as a result also of your actions for self. And sometimes thank you is due and enough, and sometimes it is not. It just ends, and the sense of satisfaction is my work, what I do, what I know, results in functioning of society, in persons that become equal to me, in being a living being, when those are humans, or in such appropriateness of importance equal to me in functioning, and divided into, well, gender specific or species for dogs and cats and such characteristics, and that is expressed in their own pursuit of social structures and pursuit of relationships, including sublimated relationship with you. What does it mean? That person does not have social social obstacle in own sexuality towards your relationship, and that person's sexual life is expressed in, for instance, if a person is adored and loved, in beautiful clothes that you can see and admire, in makeup that you, and for instance, being police, you protect so that person can parade proudly and being attractive, or in such solitude, pursuit of provision of goods, maximum capacity. And now understand not indifferences, differences, resulting in indifference, in being impressed, and the need for you to be maximum. I mean, being maximum, and all those persons, professional also maximum, in hobbies and in primary in work, so that when you, for instance, I give an example, the seller of food, provision of basic needs, became sick. She is sick, I provided for her food. I cannot sit and wait until she actually, for life, writes me letters how much I am incredible because I cooked for someone to actually love me or like me, because that is then impeding my own sense of worth, and I do not want her to do so if she can immediately reassume own cooking for self and a husband. And that, as a result, I cooked for her, she was grateful, she ate it, she actually managed to recover as a result, and I go and I see she's cooking, she's healthy, job done. What does it mean? My cooking, or the remediative action to restore her full capacity as wife, as a saleswoman at the shop to provide me ingredients, for instance, is done. And which means I am to her, in her work formation and social work, inferior in skills that are pertinent to her, that she prefers. Which means I do not aspire to be a food seller, or that I do not aspire to become a clerk or replace her, which is known. I want her to provide that, being healthy, and that's my goal, so that she has maximum capacity when I want to cook for self or somebody else in need. That when I go, she's healthy, I did my job, having such and such formation, and it is reciprocal. She then knows this person is effective, this person is good, and this person is goal oriented, and her approach works. So I go, and she has professional respect towards me and says, Dr. Chevalier, what today do we offer to you? I remember that you use, for instance, 4 depleted potassium tomatoes and things like that. I have new ones, would you like that? And I see healthy person, and that we move from then of any sort of complacency or resulting in a lack of mutual recognition of need for social maximum capacity and personal capacity, derived also from sexual role, that is independent from work and independent from provision of remedial actions to restore that personal capacity and work capacity. And so that exercise needs to be, go through your mind how many persons every single day as a result of your actions still need some remedial activities called good deeds, and how many persons actually form in unique form superior to you in social role and perform in self-esteem such social role in respect to self, that activity to you and to all others equally. and derive self of worth and self-worth expressed in language and in form, and how many persons also then benefit their spouses in personal way, seizing that activity and